Hello and welcome back to my channel where I'm going to be covering things that most people don't seem to be talking about, which is the sovereign debt crisis. Sounds a bit boring, but once you understand it, you will understand why governments are making certain decisions and why there's alliances being created and the world is being divided, as well as the people being divided. So war and conflict are closely tied to sovereign debt crises. So if you look through history, which I'll go through a little bit of that in a minute, wars tend to be created when countries are riddled in debt and can't see a way out of it. So where the economy is stagnant or shrinking, yet inflation is increasing and they have trillions in debt and they don't know how to fix it because, quite frankly, they can't. So what happens is they kick off wars, and that allows them to en masse default on their debt. Go into treasury bonds and this kind of stuff as well. Sounds a bit boring for people who don't understand finance, but it's an important topic. So look, war is a cause of sovereign debt crisis. Wars are incredibly expensive, so governments tend to borrow heavily to fund military campaigns, leading to unsustainable debt, as if it's not enough already. And if the war drags on or ends badly, it can destroy the economy and, of course, investor confidence. There's many historical examples, but it goes back to, and further beyond this, but Napoleonic War, 1803, where the British borrowed massively, creating the foundation for the modern bond market. That's where a country sells its debt and pays an interest to whichever country owns. So, for example, China owns around 10% of American debt. And America will be paying them right now, I think it's about 4 or 5% of the current rate. And of course, America have to refinance $7 trillion this year. So, bear that in mind. World War One, European powers borrowed heavily. And of course, after the war, Germany's reparations and hyperinflation in the 1920s were a direct result of war-related debt. World War Two, many nations experienced all the problems of World War II, as you can imagine. But many nations, especially the US and UK, took a massive debt. The UK, despite being on the winning side, struggled economically for decades, even rationing until 1950s, which is sort of hard to believe, really. But of course, that's what the UK did. And I think more recently, in more recent years, only just cleared the debt they owed as a consequence of World War II. So look, debt crises lead into war or internal conflict. Economic collapse from debt crisis often leads to political instability. Just look around you now. Look what's happening. Civil unrest. Look what's happening. Or even war. Well, so look what's happening around the world. You've got Russia, Ukraine. You've got, of course, Yemen. You've got Iran thing kicking off. You've got China and America sort of starred in their conflicts. So either civil or regional, and desperation can make states aggressive or fragile. Examples of this again, Germany 1930s, the Treaty of Versailles debt, followed by the Great Depression and hyperinflation, created fertile ground for Hitler's rise. World War II followed, of course. Yugoslavia, 1980s, 1990s, mounting the IMF debt, International Monetary Fund, that's what the IMF means. And of course, inflation and unemployment helped destabilize the region and contributed to the Yugoslav wars. Latin America in the 80s, while full-scale war didn't occur, numerous countries saw coups, assassinations and insurgencies. Think of Peru's Shining Path, linked to economic crisis. And of course, the Arab Spring in 2010. High food prices, youth unemployment, partly linked to sovereign and food import costs, sparked uprisings across the Middle East and, of course, North Africa. So many components, many elements, all at play, and you can really relate to what's happening now, decisions we see being made now, and all this sort of coming together. Sovereign debt is a major issue. So UK has 2.8 trillion in debt. America is close to 37 trillion in debt, and the printing machines will start going again soon. I think America will start printing 5, 6, 7 trillion dollars. The UK, EU will have to print as well if they're not already doing so. But it's going to happen. Now, when countries, of course, print money, stock markets tend to rise, cryptocurrencies tend to rise, and so on. So look, proxy conflicts and debt dependency. Debt-ridden nations often become pawns in global geopolitics. So they may be forced into strategic alliances. Again, look what's happening with Russia, Ukraine. Look at what's going on with China and BRICS. You can see these sort of alliances forming. Or they allow foreign military losses in exchange for financial support. So you can see what's going on. Modern examples include Africa and South Asia, where Chinese infrastructure loans have stirred fears of debt traps, and where Western and Eastern blocs compete for influence. So war bonds and nationalist mobilization. Governments use war to justify debt issuance. In other words, they create more debt and create a rallying cry for citizens to buy bonds, which is the debt. Bonds, treasury bonds, it's the debt. It's a way to make the debt feel patriotic, so you feel part of the whole mission and the whole sort of mess that is created. But this only works short term. Victory bonds in World War I and World War II. Never heard of victory bonds until I was making this video. I was doing the research. But victory bonds in World War I, World War II were used to fund war efforts. And when confidence wanes or wars are lost, bond markets collapse. Keep that in mind, especially if you are an investor. Keep that in mind. So in summary, war often causes sovereign debt crisis. Debt crisis can lead to war and internally through civil unrest or extremely as a distraction or power grab. Both tend to leave behind inflation, poverty, regime change, and long recoveries. As I said earlier, World War II, the UK hasn't long paid off its debt. So look at what's going on in the political market. Watch the gold price. That's always a signal of a flight to safety because something is going on that most people are unaware of. And when I say most, I'm talking probably 99.8% of people. And start associating all of the tax rises, capital flight, and capital controls will be coming. That was in another video I made the other day. And start understanding these sort of pieces. Now, keep all this in mind. To navigate through this, you can prepare. I will make a video on how you prepare for the eventuality of these kind of wars. EU, UK seem to be hell-bent on going to war with Russia. I hope they don't, but let's see what happens. I don't know how else they're solving, the sovereign debt. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment, like, subscribe. I'd like to get some recognition for making these videos and doing the research. That's it. Speak to you soon.